Let's test the new three-way solver. I think yesterday the news came out that GTO Wizard now has a three-way solver, and I haven't looked into it at all. I just found out or was just reminded that the possibility exists to add a third player into the simulation. I've not seen anything, so this will be quite experimental, but I found this three-way hand here, so I thought why not give it a shot and just try out some stuff. I tried to not cut out anything. Um, we'll see how it goes. All right. So I have no idea what happens here, if I can make this work, if it's easy as hell, or what is gonna happen. We see Asian Flushy open for a min raise. The button calls. Linus has ace 5 off and he calls. Flops a pair, checks, button bets. Linus check raises. He can easily have a 4, while the button likely won't have a 4, if at all. Maybe 4-5, which there's only one combo here, 4-5 suited, or ace 4 suited are probably the most likely ones. But Linus also blocks ace 5 of spades, ace 4 of spades, that is. Pocket 5s is of course a possibility, but if Linus has ace 5, there's only one combo as well, and then only one combo of pocket 4s. So not too many hands that the button can have here that are not hands, whereas Linus can have a lot. And then he can protect a lot against any random overcards that want to stab here and protect the pot. Now Asian Flushy goes ahead and goes over the top here. I'm not sure if he's saying he has, I don't know, pocket kings, pocket aces, and or probably not aces, because aces would likely be fine with just calling because they don't mind seeing a turn. But maybe jacks, queens, kings, who don't like to see a turn card and protect against maybe some gut shots that Linus would be check raise bluffing here. Maybe straight draws, open-ended straight draws as well. But I'm not too sure if that is a thing to come over the top with overpairs. However, if we can get the chance to see what the solver says, then we will do that. Or if he's just saying here, I have 4x or better, and even though it is unlikely for me to have that, I just say I have it. Not sure. Linus is not having it, at least. He's saying I have way more 4x here. I can even have full houses, while if you are going to 3-bet the flop with pocket queens, you're going to be in trouble now. Flushy calls. Then the queen is not blank if Flushy has queens, of course, but other than that, doesn't really change that much probably. So Linus continues with not a geometric sizing. I think it's a little bit bigger than geometric, but close to it. Flushy calls. No, it was geometric. Yeah. And then Linus says, here I have all the nuts in my range, while you probably have to fold a lot if you were just calling with kings, maybe even aces actually. Of course, queens, if he had queens or jacks now, he is in big trouble. Maybe Linus thinks he could still easily have 10s, 9s, 8s, anything like that. So he just jams. And before we see what he has here, let's go ahead and have a look at the solver. We will go ahead and use the 100 big blind. Maybe we can have the 125. No rake. And we had a min raise as an open. That was the cutoff. Button calls. So pocket 5s is in there, full frequency, 4s as well, 4 5 as well, ace 4 2, king 4 even. So that might be another possibility for the button, who doesn't play a hand, who doesn't play a role from the turn on, but just to consider the check raise on the flop. And then Linus has a really wide range here, folding 40%. And ace deuce off is actually too bad to continue here, while 5-3 off is a continue. Ace 5 though, always calling. And right, so now it automatically added all the players involved here. Interesting. Pretty cool. So 650. We can, let's adjust the stack sizes based on what they actually have here. So who is who though? Ah, yeah, of course. That makes sense. Cut off this many big blinds and this many big blinds. So now off to the sizings. For big blind donks, we don't know what Linus would choose here as a sizing. Oh, only fixed bet sizes are supported. All right. Well, probably, if at all, it's going to be a small sizing here. For the cutoff, we can also not choose automatic. Okay. Probably it would be a small bet size as well, I would guess. That is also interesting to study, of course, which bet sizes the solver would use three-way. And the button, we know what they did. They bet 194, 195 into 360, so exactly 30%. And then Linus check raises. 715. So that's a 3.66. 66x. And a 180. 2.5 by Flushy. And then Linus re-raises. Luckily, we can also insert that. Perfect. And no more bets from there. So now we want to go to the turn. We don't want to use the same sizes as on the flop. Linus bets to 80, 45, 31%. I'll just leave the raise sizes here. We don't need them in this case. And then, yeah, this I will leave the same as well. For the river, he jammed. Can we use more? Yeah, okay. So just use a bigger one. This is going to cover this hand. And I think that's it, actually. So let's go. 5, 4, 4. All right. So unfamiliar look here. 3 players, 3 graphs, and 3 EVs, equities, and so on. We right away see that the big blind would have quite the large donking range here. 32%. Can we use reports as well? That would be, oh, no, unfortunately not. No, that would have been sick to see which hands or which boards, which flops we want to donk a lot 3-way. But I guess they will work on it and someday it's gonna come. So ace 5 could actually go ahead and donk here quite a lot, more than half the time, sometimes even 70% of the time. The spades, ace of spades like to bet a little bit more often. 5 of spades as well. Probably because they get a little bit more value from backdoor flush draws, I would guess. But we will go with the check. Then cutoff bets very little, much less often than the big blind. So this can probably be simplified to just range checking. Let's actually see if we can note lock three-way as well. I think so, right? Can we note lock them to range checking? Seems to take a little bit longer than the heads up solutions, which makes sense. I mean, if you use a regular solver for three-way, simple three-way is the only one I know. It takes like massively longer. So apparently we can do that. So now, yeah, then big blind would bet a little bit more often even. And yeah, we haven't looked at the button yet. So let's use the original sim, but it's cool to see that we can note lock if we want to. They check, and then button bets very often here. So the most betting frequency of all three, even though they have less 4x in their range and quite a bit of junk as well, but their range is likely the most condensed. So the least, yeah, air hands probably. The cutoff range is going to be a little bit wider, and button, even though they have no aces, no kings, and almost no ace king preflop, they don't just flat any air hands or weak hands here. And so they do have some quads, some full houses, some trips, but overpairs like to bet a lot, protect their equity, top pairs as well, basically always betting, and the small pairs do bet as well. So do hands like ace queen even and ace king. Interesting. King highs as well. Pretty much all of them. No preference for backdoor flush draws. Not that I see at least. And then the complete air hands. Some of them are gut shots or open-enders. Those like to bet. But also 7-9. Even without a backdoor flush draw as well. So a lot of air can just stab here apparently. And that's what they do. We don't know what they have here because they just folded, but now we get to the big blind. And this is interesting. I saw some of this when I did some research and some three-way videos for Raise Your Edge like 1 or 2 years ago. That was for tournaments, but we see something that is in line with this one, which is that the big blind does quite a lot of check raising and not a lot of calling. And yeah, basically anything that continues does like to check raise and not to check call. And some of those, the ace high and lower, are either straight draws or backdoor flush draws. Right. Also king queen, a little bit more random it appears. And all of these are indifferent as well. So yeah, that will be very hard to find. I think king queen off, just check raise here in the three-way pot. But also like yeah, queen 7. I mean, there is some backdoor straight potential as well and backdoor flush potential, but queen 8 is even a little bit more difficult. Queen 9 too, even though you have those high cards. Do you really want to just check raise here against 2 players? Well, the solver says so. So all hail the solver. We do, where is, oh, yeah, of course. For top pairs, yeah, we see quite a lot of check raising as well. So this is actually a category that check calls quite a lot as well, with the backdoor flush draws, not too much. So the lower ones like to check raise more often when they have a backdoor flush draw, but King 5, for example, likes to check raise more often when it doesn't have a backdoor flush draw, which can make some sense because King 5 will get called by lower 5x more often and other hands that are pure backdoor flush draws, while 8-5, for example, does welcome the additional equity it has from a backdoor flush draw, because they will simply get called by some better 5x as well. So they like to get a little bit more equity to check raise. Ace-5 though, always check raising here basically. So of course, Linus knows that. And then we get the 3-bets. So is that a thing? Nope. No 3-betting going on here from the cutoff. Probably because of exactly that. They have so few 4x here. Well, it's not actually that. It's not that few actually, right? 5s as well, 4, 5, pocket 4s, then queen 4, king 4. But I guess it's just so hard to balance that range, and a lot of your range is aces to pocket 6s. And yeah, well, if you want to 3-bet anything, then it's ace 4, king 4, and some of these hands, in addition with some bluffs with 5x. Well, yeah, the sizings don't really match here. It's 22 big blinds instead of 18, but that's all right. It's not too big of a difference. Then button would fold almost everything. They can actually continue with open-enders and any 4x, even ace 4, even ace 5, and some other 5x hands, but they don't. And then Linus would actually go ahead and 4-bet here quite a lot. Quite a lot. Quads, full houses, trips. So the better trips. Top pair even turning into a bluff right now. And these already turn into bluffs, ace 5 included. So here I'm not sure if the suits really matter that much. We see that ace of hearts likes to raise the most often, probably because blocking the ace x backdoor flush draws, ace of hearts backdoor flush draws is a little bit better, but those spades do as well. And I'm not sure if that difference does really exist in practice as well. But it's very interesting to see that this is actually a thing here, to 4-bet here and even turn a lot of 5x into bluffs, which just shows his general understanding of the game, right? Not sure how many 3-way simulations these guys have actually run, or if it's just general understanding of ranges of nut advantages that makes them make these plays. So we do see the raise and what hands could the cutoff call here. Some would actually jam here. I mean, imagine him jamming in aces here against the 4-bet. It is a thing, but still in reality would probably look quite funny. So, okay, I'm getting called. Whoops. Yeah, basically anything that is top pair and better can call quite often. So even 5x here can call, even though we saw that Linus would 3 or 4-bet with ace-5 and other 5x hands. 7-5 is actually a continue here. So interesting. Maybe because of backdoor capabilities, maybe because Linus would have some straight draws here as well as bluffs. Yeah, probably. And of course, 5x also blocks a lot of Linus's value hands. So he calls, turn is a queen. Then the bet size is a good choice if we would also be able to jam. Again, sizes are not perfectly fitting here, but still it's good enough, I think. Now ace-5 would actually shut down. It's getting called, or as we saw, it would get called by weaker 5x here on the flop. So that's why it's not actually a pure bluff 4-bet, but kind of like a merge thing where better hands, especially pairs probably, over pairs, yeah, sometimes fold, but weaker hands call. And now that we're on the turn, we don't want to invest any more money. We can get to showdown and win quite a lot of the time, but if we continue betting, it's not that profitable apparently. Right, so these combos like to bet, but ace-5, the combo that he has, is actually losing almost 4 big blinds. So this is not a thing, apparently. Of course, in practice, everything might look different. If he doesn't expect Flushy to call a lot of 5x or 3-bet them in the first place and only wants to make his overpairs fold that he thinks call on the flop and fold on the turn, then of course this may get better as a bet, but not in theory so much. Here against the bet, we see that the cutoff would still call quite a lot of overpairs here. Not all of them. Jacks would sometimes fold, even kings and aces as well. And then the better 4x hands would just go ahead and jam. Maybe that is something that Linus is thinking here as well. If Asian Flushy just calls on the turn, it reduces the number of 4x he has, so that he can bluff more profitably on the river. Top pairs, okay, not so many anymore here. Wait. Oh, top pairs. Queen X is top pair. Under pairs, those still call quite often, to be honest. 10s, 9s purely calling, 8s calling mostly. Then 7x is worse because it blocks 6, 7. And now 5x would even fold almost always here. So that's why ace-5 is probably checking here on the turn in Linus's shoes, because you don't get called by many worse hands anymore. And then straight draws still call all the time. And on the river, yeah, any ace-5 that got here is purely checking now, just hoping to get a showdown against those lower 5x that called the turn, or straight draws that didn't hit and check. If they do that, not sure, but anything trips and better can always jam here. Overpairs are not in the range. Third pairs, so other 5x hands are actually good bluffs here apparently. So 6-5 and even king 5. So that always shows that it's not too far off. It's not like He just did some completely random thing. Yes, the solver would always check ace 5 on the river and always check his combo on the turn. But if king 5 barrels through all the time, it's not like night and day here, right? And then for the busted straight draws that Linus has, around 50% of those would go ahead and bluff. A lot of them are just mixing for each combo. And yeah, in position would always call trips. Almost always call aces actually, and mostly fold kings. Which is likely the reason for king X being, oh no, it's the other way around. King X mostly folds because king 5 jams so often in the big blind's shoes, and aces can call more often because ace X in Linus' shoes doesn't bluff as often. Second pair, yeah, well, yeah, some ace 5 would bluff catch here, but if he thinks Flushy always folds these hands, then probably bluffing ace 5 isn't too bad here. You could run a lot of node locks here as well, and three-way there's so many more combinations, of course, especially on the flop when 3 players are still in. But this is just the first tryout. Of course, we don't really know, or I don't really know, I haven't looked into it, how accurate this all is. Three-way is a little bit of a different monster according to equilibrium. It's much more complex, and I think there are a lot of differences to heads up, but it's at least cool to see that it's possible, and even with the same speed that you could solve, or almost the same speed that you could solve the heads up pots for. You can do a lot with this, I'm sure. This is just the first tryout, and now let's have a look at what happens in the hand. Does he get the bluff through? Which hands would he get called by? If he does get called by, which he does, whack, king 4, he simply had a 4 and couldn't fold, which is very solver approved. As we see, no 4x would ever call here, and a lot of those actually take this line, 3-betting the flop and then calling down on turn and the river. All right, what do you think? Have you tried out this new tool, and have I missed anything? Just let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.